and he just put a thumbs up. I probably couldn't even see me. I had like stewy eyes, like you can't see shit.
Man.
And my coach goes, "Holy fuck!" I went, "That's the winner. That guy won."
This is something about Jon Jones. I think I got a theory. I got an older brother theory, and I feel like dudes who have badass older brothers can fucking take it. Like Weidman had an older brother, and him and the older brother, apparently, according to some of his interviews, his older brother beat him up and shit.
Yeah, man, makes you tough.
Like Matt Hughes, 2 twins. Imagine looking at yourself every day, just trying to beat up yourself.
Scrapping. And it's just a dead even every fucking time. Just a war.
Jim Miller, his brother
man.
Dan Miller.
My brother used to beat me up, but I never, not beat me up, but just like sock my shoulder. Like if I would fart, he would sock me full. I'd have to sit there, and I would take it. I would never fight back. And I was too much of a pussy.
Like in boxing, there's the Smith family, Liam Smith, Aldo Smith. There's 4 brothers. 3 are world champions.
Cole Miller, Micah Miller.
They're all just
savages,
monsters, man.
There's a ton of people
brothers.
like that. Yep, the Lozon brothers. There you go.
Nogueira
That's a good
brothers.
one. Nogueira brothers. Shit, twins there, right? Too.
There's a bunch, man.
Dude, so many. Shogun and Ninja.
Oh, here's something that fucking rock your world or not rock your world. But if Jon Jones wasn't such, a fuck up, for lack of better terms, he would. We're not even like having this conversation that Mighty Mouse is the best ever. He'd be just going based off his regular schedule now. He'd be 13, 14-time world champ if no one beat him, and he'd probably be fighting at heavyweight and having that belt too, going down as best ever.
Well, he's still got a chance. I mean, Jon Jones is only 30 years old, which is crazy because that means he's really about to jump into his prime. I'd say like an athlete's prime for combat sports, I feel like it's somewhere around 30 to 32.
For heavyweight. See, I don't think everyone. I think the lighter weight classes, it's earlier.
But look at the welterweights. The champs are always around that age. Except for GSP. I think he won the title when he was in his late 20s.
Yeah, late
right?
20s.
When is Tyron Woodley's, what, 33?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, he had wrestling background.
What's the latest with Jon Jones?
How old's Robbie? Jon Jones is his suspension comes up in July.
Did you hear what Dana White said today? I texted to you.
Yeah, they're gonna fight. There was Brett Okamoto, right?
Yeah, Brett Okamoto interviewed Dana White from ESPN. He said that DC will fight Jon Jones if Jon Jones isn't ready by, I think it's the July card.
July 29th.
Yeah, if he's not ready by then he's going to fight Jimmy Manoa, and then they'll fight down the road.
Crazy.
So no warm up for Jon Jones. If he does want one, then
what do you think about that? Do you think that's smart for Jon, or do you think Jon should take a warm up?
He should take a warm-up. The UFC should give him a warm-up. Because, Joe, when has it ever worked when a guy takes this much time off and you just throw him right to the top of the heap? Think of Ronda. Think of Chael Sonnen. Like, there's a lot of guys. And people go, well, Dominic Cruz. Dominic Cruz didn't fight Cody Garbrandt, TJ Dillashaw after all that time. Right. He fought a Mizusaki, who's a tough guy. But
Mitsugaki, and then he went right into TJ.
But still a warm-up.
But TJ was a big gap.
I know, but at least he didn't fight TJ. Right. That first fight back, he ain't being TJ.
Right, but you know that he got injured after the Mitsugaki fight, and it was another year plus before he fought again.
True, and he might be the outlier here, but I'm just saying.
He's an outlier.
He's an outlier, but
he's not as good in the first fight. If you look at him in the TJ fight, and then you look at him in the second fight when he fought Uriah Faber, he's way better in the Uriah Faber fight. He's more lean, he's fitter, and he dealt with a lot of the problems that he has. He has serious plantar fasciitis,
horrible.
Man.
Yeah, have you ever had that?
No,
I heard it's a fucking nightmare. I've had to deal with it.
And you look at his
style.
What is that? It's the fascia in the bottom of your feet tears.
You can't even you can't get out of bed to warm up. It's a fucking nightmare. It's impossible to get rid of.
Dominic Cruz is all footwork. And what happened is after he tore his ACL, he took a long time off, and his feet just weren't strong enough to keep up with his training. Because his training is so foot movement.
Yeah, man. That's why he got it.
Yeah.
But back to the point, should Jon get a warm up? You're in the grand scheme of things, I understand we want these big paydays and you want the big ratings, so you toss them. DC Jon Jones is a huge rater, right? Yeah. But if something happens, like Ronda Rousey lost, what happens if we gave Ronda a warm-up so you get paid on that? It's a huge draw. And then she fights, huge draw. But when you just toss them right to the very top, it's a one and done, man. Well, it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, they were worried, I guess, with the sale. You buy something for like $4 billion. You wanna maximize your profits. It's just the issue comes up with purists, which I think all of us are purists, right? When you consider when you look at it, at the end of the day, I want to see the #1 contender fight the champ.
I ride the fence. I get the business side from what they want to do, and then I get from a pure fighter standpoint.
I was just about to say, but I'm a hypocrite because I was happy when Dan Henderson got that shot against Michael Bisping. I'm like, that's what we want to see.
Or GSP, it makes no sense he's fighting Bisping.
Well, the problem with the GSP Bisping fight is it ties up the division. And when you have a guy like Robert Whittaker who just ices Jacare, holy
Straight up
shit.
ice. That's the best
God damn, that
adjective
kid's
you use
good.
there.
He's a killer. Whittaker's a killer.
Straight killer.
Straight killer.
Who beats him in the top 3? I like his chance against anyone now.
Yoel Romero is such a freak. God, such a freak.
I
feel like Yoel
like Whittaker
Romero
on that, son.
Maybe. You're 100% right that it's a hell of a fight.
I mean, do you see Yoel Romero and Jacare? I don't even think Yoel beat Jacare, really. You could really give some of that fight to Jacare. Like, Romero's a split decision.
But he had that one moment where he spun and hit Jacare with that spinning back fist and put him on Queer Boulevard.
But Whittaker made Jacare look like a fucking amateur. Just fucking hawked him down. He even had his back. He's like, get the fuck out of here. Oh, jiu-jitsu? Very cool. See ya.
I feel like Whittaker's better now than ever, and I think he's only 25 or 26.
He's 26, right?
26, I think. So he's no older than that. He's a young buck, and he's coming up strong. And he's another one that went from 170 to 185 and improved tremendously.
Yep.
As soon as he stopped cutting that radical amount of weight, all of a sudden, dude's got vitality and power.
He's knocking
the Brunson fight. The Brunson fight was serious. That was a big wake-up call to people because Brunson was putting it on him.
Well, Brunson rushed at him chin first, and I was like, oh, my God, how's this going to work out? And he covered up. He was smart, composed, and then just yakoosh.
Yeah.
Those Australian fucking shovels, man. I'm a fan now. And I thought he was going to lose that fight. And I went, oh, that's my guy. When I'm down, I'm down, man.
Did you see all the Crocodile Dundee memes?
No.
There was a ton of them. A ton of them.
Can't wait,
I mean,
man.
come on, man. A dude from Australia fights a dude who calls himself the alligator? Shit.
That's a great fucking point. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, it writes itself.
Crocodile Dundee, son.
Fucking, now this is a knife. Fucking.
Now that's a knife.
That's a knife.
Yeah, man.
Whittaker's he's the new hotness, and that division needs some hotness. Like the new blood. I love when there's new blood because, like, fuck yeah. That's what we need. Now we need that heavyweight and light heavyweight.
Yeah,
light heavyweight, we're like,
yeah.
I guess, you know what? DC, John, can you guys just fight each other every other weekend?
Well, what did you think about Rumble retirement? When I saw, here's what happened, right? They read off the submission. DC raised his hand. You know, I'm going in to interview DC, and Rumble and DC are hugging. And then DC puts his hand on Rumble's shoulders and goes, you go first, you go first.
That was a bad idea, I think.
No, I don't think it was a bad idea, man. I think it was classy. You know, this is what I think about DC. At the end of the day, Daniel Cormier is a really good man.
Great guy.
He's a really good man.
He gets so much hate, doesn't he?
I don't get it, man. I mean, he's competitive, and, you know, before the fight, he's saying, you know, it's too bad that Anthony Johnson's in my weight class because he'll never be champion. You know, he's saying all the shit that you're going to say. But at the end of the day, it's true. He's on another level when it comes to his ability to compete.
Another level.
He's on another level.
You know, but just to critique the fight there, DC looked in the worst shape we've seen him. I thought if Anthony Johnson can beat him, this is going to be the time. Anthony, I didn't know going into it, Anthony Johnson didn't want to fight or be in there. He had one. If you're even talking about retiring, you're fucked with a guy like DC who's going to grind you out. Dude, it's just not going to work.
Rumble Johnson was about 4 inches from a head kick knockout. He caught him with the foot in the face.
If he caught him, broke his nose.
If he caught him with his shin, if he, you know, you see where that kick landed,
yeah, man.
You feel like, God damn, Daniel Cormier can fucking take it. He can fucking take it because he took that shot right in the chin. He went back to his corner. His nose was clearly jacked. We're looking at it in between rounds like that looks really broken. Went out there like it didn't bother him at all.
See, I think that was a good tune-up fight for DC too. Not that Anthony Johnson's a tune-up, but his game plan was crazy. He obviously didn't execute the game plan. So I think that was good for DC because I think if that DC fights John, he's in trouble.
I wonder what would have happened if Rumble connected. My question is, look at this. Smack, he catches him right with the foot.
It's almost better he bent down, so he didn't get the chin.
His nose absorbs it.
Hell yeah, that's small nose too.
Jesus Christ, what a combination.
But we've never really seen DC with a gut like that.
Well, look, it obviously wasn't affecting him. Who knows if he's injured? He probably was. He's always injured.
He's always doing some shit.
He's got a problem with his knee, and he's had it worked on. I know he's got stem cells in it.
Shit's gonna happen.
He's 38.
It looks like that kick fully connected, right? And he just took it. Yeah. He was just like,
but he went down into it, which I think he didn't get full momentum, like you said, with the shin, where he was in a lot of trouble.
Dude, he fucking ducked right
still,
into it.
It looked a lot harder than I thought it was.
Yeah.
But it was certainly the foot. And the thing about feet is you can knock someone the fuck out with a foot, no doubt about it. But a foot gives a little bit.
Yeah, I was just going to say it gives.
It gives a little bit. But the shin, man, the
shin
game over,
doesn't.
Son. You know, the first time I ever realized like how much of a benefit that was, I worked out with Maurice Smith. And Maurice Smith was showing me, like, when Maurice Smith faces a heavy bag, it's really interesting. Like, if he throws a roundhouse kick, the bag goes straight. Like, he hits it, like he's hitting straight on. He's, like, stepping to the side and hitting straight on. It's almost like he's hitting it with a front kick in terms of how the bag moves away from him. And in the Taekwondo and karate days, everybody went round with these round kicks, and it was more like a slap. It didn't have the same kind of penetration. And when you see like a Maurice Smith or a Pedro Hizzo, Eddie, do you remember when you and I went to Beverly Hills Jiu-Jitsu way back in the day? Way back in the day, you were a purple belt. We went to Beverly Hills Jiu-Jitsu
back in the day.
And we watched Marco Huas kick the bag. Oh no, Pedro Hizzo. It was Pedro Hizzo was kicking the bag. Legend. Marco Huas was too. But Pedro Hizzo, I never saw anybody in my life who had leg kicks that were as scary as Pedro Hizzo. I remember he kicked Rico Rodriguez once when they fought, and the thud, the swak, and you looked at it and you went, oh, you can't take those. There's no way. No one's taking those. You can only take so many of those.